name is James Anderson, and I actually teach people about finances, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but there were like 3 really big financial moments that kind of put me in the scope, put me in the mind, put me in the realm of actually thinking about money. See, I always tell people this: money's not the most important thing, but you can't do any important things without it. And so when you look at what's going on out here, so many people are struggling on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you got people out here not having life insurance, you got people out here not having any money in the bank, people out here can't buy groceries for their children. So yes, I get it why people don't like to focus on money, but it's time that we fix the problem. So, talking about one of those experiences, right, in my adult life. At this particular point, you know, I had an apartment, I had some roommates, which was cool. There was nothing wrong with it, and we had a good time, you know. Guys had an apartment in college doing their thing. But here's the thing, right? One of the ladies had an issue with the complex for whatever reason. I don't know. She had an issue with the complex, and she was basically getting fired. And at the time, I was going to get money orders to pay the rent, and I know that's a big deal, but I was young, I didn't know anything about money at the time. And on the money orders, you got a little receipt that you're supposed to tear off and keep for your copies. Well, usually what I would do is I just take the whole money order in there, don't tear off the receipt, they'll make a photocopy of it, give me a receipt. But this particular day, this lady had an issue, and she was like, well, I'm not giving you the receipt right now, come back to it, whatever the case might be. She was just upset. So I put the rent in the box anyway, and that was a big mistake because I didn't know about the little receipt. So these are just allegations, but I got a call from the actual the complex, and they told me, yeah, Mr. Anderson, we didn't get your rent on this particular month. And this was like 14, 15 days later. They're like, you always pay your rent. What's the problem? Why don't we have it going? Why don't we have your money order here? I'm like, well, I put it in the box, such and such, she had it. And she didn't give me a receipt. It was her last day there. She said, you guys don't give me a receipt. And then they said, well, we got no recollection of that. We got no note, we got no money order, we got nothing here, and you basically owe this money. So what are you gonna do? So it was at that point that I particularly, I kind of got my first taste of what it means, because here it is, I had a certain amount of money to pay the rent, and it's already 2 weeks into the month, and guess what? The rent's not paid. So I got to figure out what I need to do to actually kind of get myself back on track. So I immediately learned that with far as money is, you know, I don't know what the lady's situation is. I don't even know if she did it. I don't know if it got lost. All I know at this particular point that I needed money and I didn't have it. And I had to pay my rent or serve an eviction. So after that, I started learning the #1 rule that I tell everybody is, you know, make sure you keep an eye on your own money and don't trust anybody else with it. Here's a funny one, right? You know, it's not really funny, but it kind of made like my relationship with, you know, then my girlfriend at that particular time, and my particular, you know, my woman, she's my wife now. But it was one time that we were young and we were dating and we were kind of doing our thing, but we were in a committed relationship. And this was the second time that I understood that, you know, money is not the most important thing, but you gotta focus, you gotta have it to get focused on what's actually important. And I'll never forget it, you know. So my wife, she was actually in between jobs. I was kind of bouncing around with jobs. I was bussing, I was, you know, working at restaurants, I was doing jobs on the side, working on people's cars, doing all those things. But I remember it was one month where literally the money had dried up, the money was gone. And, you know, my wife was a very independent person. You know, she didn't, you know, since we weren't married, she felt as though we didn't have like a big obligation at the time. We actually looked, you know, we probably only had about $50 between the two of us, and we had to just skate on that for the next week. And next week was going to be the first, so rent was due on her apartment. You know, me being a man, I can't let my wife, you know, not make rent on her apartment. So I started doing everything that I could do to get as much money, as much cash flow as I possibly could. I mean, you're talking about, I was changing people's oils, I was cleaning out garages, I was helping people with yard work. If you needed a refrigerator moved, I was doing everything I could possibly do to hustle up and just get to the point to pay rent and buy some groceries, just to struggle for the next month, right? So I actually looked at it as a learning experience, saying, okay, James, you can't let this happen again, right? You got to position yourself to actually really take care of you, yourself, and your family at the time, and there's really no excuse about it. You can't work this hard just to get rid of everything, just to struggle again. And that was the second time that I said, okay, I have to really start being great with my money.